All right, okay. Welcome for today's morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 3, verses 5 to 7. Tad upashrutya nabasi kecharanam prajalpatam sati dakshayani devi pitriyagna mahotsavam vrajanti sarvato dikpya upadeva varastriyah विमानयाना सप्रेष्ठा निष्ककण्ठी सुवाससा दृष्ट्वा स्वनिलयाभ्यासे लोलाक्षीर्मृष्टकुण्डला पतिं भूतापतिं देवम् औत्सुक्याद् अभ्यभासत. Translation, a word to word. Tat, then, upashrutya, hearing, nabasi, in the sky, ke charanam, of those who were flying in the air, the Gandharvas, prajalpatam, the conversation, sati, Dakshayani, the daughter of Daksha, Devi, the wife of Shiva, Pitriyagna Maha Utsavam, the great festival of sacrifice performed by her father, Rajanti were going, Sarvataha from all, Dikpyaha directions, Upadeva Varastriyaha, the beautiful wives of the demigods, Vimana Yana, flying in their airplanes, Sapreshtaha, along with their husbands, Niska Kantihi, having nice necklaces with lockets, Suvasaha, Suvasasa, dressed in fine clothing, Drishtva, seeing, Swa Nilaya Abhyase, near her residence, Lola Akshihi, having beautiful glittering eyes, Mrushta Kundala, nice earrings, Patim, her husband, Bhutapatim, the master of the Bhutas, Devam, the demigod, Outsukhyat, from great anxiety, Abhyabhasata, she spoke. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The chaste lady Sati, the daughter of Daksha, heard the heavenly denizens flying in the sky, conversing about the great sacrifice being performed by her father. When she saw that from all directions the beautiful wives of the heavenly denizens, their eyes very beautifully glittering, very near her residence, were near her residence and were going to the sacrifice dressed in fine clothing and ornamented with earrings and necklaces with lockets. She approached her husband, the master of the Buddhas, in great anxiety and spoke as follows. Purport. It appears that the residence of Lord Shiva was not on this planet, but somewhere in outer space. Otherwise, how could Sati have seen the airplanes coming from different directions towards this planet and heard the passengers talking about the great sacrifice being performed by Daksha? Sati is described here as Dakshayani because she was the daughter of Daksha. The mention of Upadevavara refers to inferior demigods like the Gandharvas, Kinnaras, and Uragas, who are not exactly demigods but between the demigods and human beings. They were also coming in planes. The word Swanilayabhyase indicates that they were passing right near her residential quarters. The dress and bodily features of the wives of the heavenly denizens are very nicely described here. Their eyes moved, their earrings and other ornaments glittered and glared, their dresses were the nicest possible, and all of them had special lockets on their necklaces. Each woman was accompanied by her husband. Thus, they looked so beautiful that Sati Dakshayani was impelled to dress similarly and go to the sacrifice with her husband. That is the natural inclination of a woman. Okay, so am I sharing? Yeah. So uh, I'll start with the prayers and we'll have some discussion on it. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम् Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskrityam Narancheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire. Right, welcome to today's class. We are doing Srimad Bhagavatam from Canto 4, Chapter 3, 5 to 7. Uh, I think this talks about Lord Shiva talks with Sati. And in this verse, uh, there are a few things that I would like to discuss. So, if here it's mentioned that the daughter of Daksha, also known as Sati by definition or by its own meaning, is the most chaste. And she was approaching her husband in great anxiety. And why there is an anxiety? Uh, there are few in the later verses will know why there is an anxiety, but I'll share that as well. So first, I would like to say that we are speaking of very highest personalities here, Mother Sati, uh, Lord Shiva, and Daksha also. Even though he is acting in such a way, uh, he is he. I mean, Lord Brahma chose him as a chief of the Prajapatis, so who is the progenitor of this material world. So they are not ordinary personalities. Therefore, I just want to say it's utmost respect for all of them. So some of these, when we discuss or speak, it seemingly appears that they are doing something like an ordinary act, but uh, there are some lessons to be learned. So in this case, Mother Sati was mentioned that she is in great anxiety. Prabhupada says that this is the nature of the material world, that there is always lamentation, there is always anxiety. In one of the lectures, he was speaking to his disciples, saying, "Choose, tell me one person between you who is not with an anxiety." So there is always an anxiety within the living entities, especially the embodied souls who are conditioned by three material modes. And also there is lamentation or anxiety, whether we chose it or we don't chose it. Just an example. I mean, here Sati herself, she want to go to the sacrifice, so she is in anxiety. There is an anxiety because there was a long running tension between uh, Lord Shiva and his father-in-law Daksha. So therefore, she even to approach and to speak of that topic, she is in anxiety to go to the sacrifice. And later we know, even after she goes, that she has went through that anxiety. So whether we do something, some act, or choose something, some decision, or to go or not go, there is an anxiety. And also after we go, there is an anxiety. So that's the nature of the this world that we are living in. Another example I can think of, like if you're going to a nice buffet, there you see so many varieties of food. So there is an anxiety in a way, or we lament whether if we don't eat or we don't have those nice samosas or anything. Sometimes we feel that even after taking that, we are lamenting because why did I took this? I mean, it's not tasty, or maybe it is tasty, but calorie or whatever it is. So there are so many ways that we are always having this lamentation. So, what is the cure? What is the relief from this material anxiety? So, we'll go through this, some of these lessons. And the few other things, especially this purport and the translation was talking about the natural inclination of a woman, or their natural tendencies, and very nicely described their how the wives of these heavenly denizens were beautifully decorated. And of course, everyone appreciates the beauty, and women especially, they do appreciate beauty, and they want to decorate. That is a natural tendency. And also another thing mentioned here is how they were accompanied by their husbands. Uh, we see even today, uh, it is a custom that, at least in some parts of the world, it feels like if the wife goes to their house without an husband, it, it is not very acceptable. It's not socially they feel that anxiety. What happened? There is an anxiety there. So it's a custom that she need to be accompanied by her husband. So these are very natural tendencies, and of course, being in the woman's body, Mother Sati also has that feeling. And Sati, as we know, the definition itself of the name Sati is the most chaste, and we should also understand that Sati is such a great personality. She is the superintending deity of this material world. She's out of this divine energy, the expansion of divine energy, Maya Shakti. So she's not an ordinary personality. And also, uh, they both, uh, Lord Shiva and Sati, are the great example of of a grihastha, like Sati being the most chaste, and the Lord Shiva, uh, who is taking care of her, protecting her. So it's not that just women are chaste. There is an equal responsibility from the husband, that one need to protect, the protection and being faithful. These are the two responsibilities in return from a husband. Therefore, they are the greatest examples. Uh, we will learn in this pastime how uh, Lord Shiva tries to protect her, but the, 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 the power of Maya is so strong that, or it is so strong that even in spite of his trying to protect, it doesn't happen again. This is a pastime. This is not something they they are doing out of ignorance or out of the modes. That is how I see. Uh, and also our acharyas say, which I will share a little later. But uh, it, it, it is they're doing for this pastime. And here, another quality of a chaste lady is how she approached her husband. And in the next few verses, we will see she speaks very gently, she speaks very politely, and so that means it's not just externally or physically being chaste, also internally the qualities within are also very pure. So that is an other way to look at it. And also we will know in the later chapters that Sati is so devoted, or I mean, she's so devoted to her husband that she gives up her life at the end of this pastime, uh, because she don't want to hear the insults that her father on her husband, that her father has says many things on her husband. So this is the highest level of chastity. So giving up one's life, I mean, we also learn this lesson uh, in the Nectar of Instruction or Devotion. Rupa Goswami says that if you if someone blasphemes a pure devotee, then one should give up his life, or at least go away from that place. And Mother Sati is so chaste, so devoted to her husband that she gave up her life by setting up herself in the fire, the Yoga Agni. And there are several examples in Bhagavatam that we see uh, who are very chaste. Recently, when His Holiness Prabhupada Swami Maharaj was giving lectures on the wives of Kaliya, how chaste they were, even though the husband, the Kaliya himself, is very ignorant and is so envious, but still the wives are so chaste. They didn't leave him, and they prayed for him, for his well-being. And also many other examples like Draupadi, Mother Kunti, uh, and we recently concluded the chapters of Mother Devahuti. They are very chaste, and there is several other examples that we can think of. So, talking about the anxiety that she felt, why there is an anxiety, uh, and in the next verse or the couple of verses, we'll know that there is a tension that is going on between Lord Shiva and his father-in-law Daksha. And in the previous verses, it's mentioned that this is being a long dissension. It's a long going uh, tension. It's not just okay. The previous verse it happened, and the next day, this sacrifice is being taken place, and Sati wants to go. It's not like this. It's a long tension going on, and Mother Sati, is aware of that. What's going on? Therefore, she approached her husband in that anxiety. And Prabhupada defines anxiety means it's a fire within our heart. It's a fire burning within our heart. And one of the lectures he spoke of, every living entity has that anxiety. Even the birds are having that anxiety. And he says if you carefully observe the birds, they eat whatever they're eating, and then they look up to see if someone is approaching or if there is a danger. So they look up sideways everywhere, and then they go back and eat again, and they look back again. So there is an anxiety even in the bird. So that that is always there in the conditioned living entity. So now, what is the cure? Mother Sati is going through that anxiety, and if you see this translation, especially, it's more of under the mode of passion. Just be careful to say that, but it's not Mother Sati. It's again a lesson to us when we see some get into this situation with such a beautiful decorations. It's a natural tendency of a woman or anyone that they want to be decorated like that. So it's basically defining it's a mode of passion, because you're getting attracted to it. It's to something, and you're attached to something like that. Interestingly, Mother Sati is she's aware of that. In the next few verses, when I read, I came to know that she's aware of that, and she tells to Lord Shiva that I know, but I'm helpless. I mean, she feels like that. She doesn't say exactly the word helpless, but she's uh, under under that impression that she still want to go. So she acknowledges that what she's going through. So that is one of the lesson that we can take as well. Uh, so first, in order to overcome these modes, first we need to become aware of what is acting on us, whatever the mode it is, even though it is goodness. So in order to transcend these modes, first one need to be aware of what is happening within us. And we'll see later that even in spite of Lord Shiva saying that you will go through the misery, you will, this leads to misery, this even death. He says that even death, insult to a personality like you can even lead to death. That's how the chapter ends. So in spite of saying that, Mother Sati goes. So that is the power of the mode of passion, or the external modes that one can lead to. So need to be very careful. And in Bhagavad Gita, we know uh, that Krishna speaks of these material modes, and he speaks how the passion leads to misery. That is that is one of the symptoms that it leads to misery. And other thing is that one get attached to the fruitive activities. That is another one, the passion which leads us to. And it also develops intense endeavor. We see in Mother Sati how much she endeavored, how much uh, she hankered that she wanted to go to his father's place. There are many other reasons. She's a pet daughter and she wants to see her relatives. That is one of the reasons that she mentions. I want to see the relatives. And she also gives a reason that there is no harm by going to uh, one's relative, like friend or a spiritual master, or visiting a father or a husband. She gives all these reasons. So she's that is being developed. There is, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, it develops the greed. So this mode is not easy to overcome, but it has several other things that it develops. Therefore, we can say this the power of Maya is very strong. And Prabhupada says, so the cure to this is, one is to be determined. One needs to be very determined, uh, that how much ever the Maya is help, trying to do her own act, we need to be determined to be in our own thing as well, in our devotion. And Prabhupada always says the relief to these material modes, to overcome these material modes, is simply say Krishna consciousness, devotion. Uh, and the one practical way of overcoming is that through chanting. And we know there's in 6th Ashtika, the first verse, the effects of chanting. It says that Bhava Mahatavagni Nirvapanam. So it extinguishes the blazing fire of the material miseries. Sri Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So all glories to that Sankirtana, the glory of the holy name that can take away these miseries. And another situation we also see in Srimad Bhagavatam. I was hearing from Prabhupada. He was uh, uh, he was talking about how Arjuna was also relieved of his anxiety when Krishna has departed from this material world. Arjuna lose all his powers. His Gandiva bow, which was very strong, he was not able to carry it anymore. It's the same bow that he has won the battle in Kurukshetra. And he was not even able to protect um strongly the ladies from Dwarka. He was he's being getting defeated by the cowherds. So that's what he says to Maharaj Yudhishthira. That's all happens because Krishna has left and he has no he doesn't have his association. But again, he reflects back and says that Krishna gave his instruction, so the Vani will save him back. So the strength that one may have, maybe the external strength may be lost, but when one is holding on to Lord's instructions, whether through Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, so one may overcome, or one may get relief from his anxiety. So that is another way that we can get relief to holding on to the instructions of a guru or shastra. And also, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the chapter 14, the modes of material nature, when Arjuna asks, so how one can overcome, and he says that by taking shelter of the Lord, because the Lord is not under these modes. So, in other words, if one approaches someone who has already overcome, or who is beyond these material modes, like a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, or one spiritual master, or the Lord Himself, then one can get relief. So that is another way. Uh, so these are how different ways that one can get cured of these material modes, whether it's anxiety or passion or anything coming out of these modes. And how the lessons, this is the last part I will conclude with, how I should understand the acts of Mother Sati, or whatever in this pastime is going on. One, I was reflecting as part of our Bhagavatam reading daily. We were reading Canto 11, chapter 1st, how Yadu dynasty gets destroyed. And there, Shukadeva Goswami says that Yadu dynasty was also put into anxiety. As we all know, that there was a Brahmana curse, I think Samba, who tries to ridicule the Brahmanas, that he was pregnant, and the curse was, okay, you will have, what is that? Iron iron rod, or iron thing that you will give birth to, because Brahmanas knows that they're ridiculing. And there, the acharyas mention, especially Jiva Goswami, this is Krishna's will, because he wants to end the pastimes, and not just his pastime that he wants to return, but he also his eternal associates, or the demigods who have taken part in his pastimes. He also wants to send them back to their own abodes. And Jiva Goswami says this is to teach a lesson to the conditioned living entities. What is the lesson? Because this is the nature of the material world. How much ever one may be powerful, like in this case, Yadu dynasty was, in those verses it's mentioned, the Yadu dynasty was so powerful that no one can defeat in these three worlds. So they are very powerful. And that power will not last in the material world. That is what Krishna is teaching us by taking away them, or by killing them in this pastime. So no one is permanent in this material world. It is impermanent. So that is one lesson, like even in the case of Mother Sati. So she's teaching us, or even though she's divine, she's teaching us that this body is impermanent. And another lesson that she teaches us is the association of one who is contaminated. In this case, Daksha, her father, Daksha, uh, he's so contaminated, he's under that ignorance. So even if he is his father, if he is her father, that she's teaching us that that association, one need to leave it, one need to avoid that. And how she by giving up her life. So I was feeling that, in other words, these pure devotees uh, are so merciful, that they are teaching us in so many ways, that they had to go through so many tribulations, even though externally seemingly like that, but They are showing us going through all these tribulations and telling us that how one should behave, or how one should act in any situation. And this is a great example of Mother Sati. I'm looking forward to hear more from other devotees as well as we go through this pastime. But it's such a great pastime, and there are so many lessons to learn. I think it's 8 o'clock. I will end it here. Anyone has any questions? I see no one yet. Oh, sorry. There are a few. Open for discussion or questions.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. We are listening to your wonderful, wonderful pastimes, and you are taking it in step by step, and the emotions that are running through Sati's mind, and what she is watching mainly when we, in the other morning class, I am listening. The main thing that the senses is the eyes, right? Because we see something and we want to get something, or we want to do something, we start think about that. And once we watch something, that's the thing that attracts more the mind. And she's trying to even run through Shiva's thoughts, and we're trying to convince him somehow. As you said, she's a chaste woman, and she doesn't want to completely ignore him and hurt him also. He doesn't want to go against his will also. So that is the conflict in her mind. And the other part I heard somewhere because she is also trying to somehow get through this and console the both parties, like father and husband, and try to make them in peace together, and trying to find some occasions like this to make them meet together. And that's also the reason she wants to go, because she only when they meet in person, then only something can happen and all.
Yes, thank you, Mataji, for sharing that. The sense control is really important. I mean, that is one of the attributes of being a chaste woman, or being chaste. Sense control is very important, and that tells me that she is the most chaste, Sati herself. And then she's doing this as if she's not controlling her senses. So it's a big conflict there. She's the most chaste and she's not controlled. So that is another way that to see that she is teaching us it's a pastime. It's a teaching for us. It's not really that she's going through. I felt like that. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. I think if no one has any questions or comments, we'll end it here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo.
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.